it's been a while. Welcome back to the channel. Sorry I haven't posted hardly at all in the last couple of months. One of the reasons is I simply just haven't had the motivation. It's obviously been a pretty busy year. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. And I also got into, I've been showing you a couple of videos before of some of the hobbies that I've been kind of involved in the last couple of months. Some of that stuff's getting wrapped up now. We are getting into spring, and we have a trip or two or a bunch planned here to go north up to the cabin, up to the property, and finish up some stuff. So the big project this year, let me explain. Last year we put the well in. You guys remember those series of videos? We put the well in there. We finally got water in after like 12 years of owning that property. It's in. Did the static pressure test, and you know, it's sitting there. 500 gallons of water is sitting there at the bottom of the well. So this year the big project for the property is to put a pump in, to put some sort of pump system in there. I have one in mind that I'm probably going to end up doing. It's a pretty substantial cost, but Mrs. D and I have agreed that that's the direction we're going to go. I'll get to that. That's going to be farther out. I have to make some calls and figure out if that's even possible. I need to get an excavator up there, and I need to dig out a pitless adapter pit. So there's a lot that has to go on with that. That's probably going to be a little ways out, but that's my big project this year for the property, is to get functioning water. So preparedness. I mentioned RC airplanes. What does RC airplanes have to do with preparedness? Well, for me, it's something that I enjoy doing. I haven't done it for 20 years. D2S Dad and I used to go flying together all the time, and last year was kind of rough with everything going on. You know what? We said, hey, for fun this year, let's dig out the old planes and do that. So the last couple months, I've been having a blast doing that. I just remadened an airplane that I think I shared with you guys a while back, but it's a 47-year-old airplane. I just did the maiden flight of that 2 days ago, and it flew pretty darn good. I had a little bit of a mishap with the engine, but the plane flew great. And we're going to do a little contest, I don't know, in a few weeks on that. So that'll be kind of fun. So why have a hobby when, you know, the world's going crazy, right? Why have a hobby? Why do something just for fun? Well, I think that's just it. Do something that gets your mind off of all the crazy stuff going on. You know, there's riots, there's things happening, there's pandemics, there's always a new catastrophe, right? And you know, we're in the preparedness space, and so you know, we're always trying to prepare for that kind of thing. But at the same time, it's always good to have something that you can do that you just simply enjoy doing. You know, maybe it keeps you out of trouble, maybe it keeps you off of social media, for me, right? And saying something stupid, like, you know, usually happens. And maybe it just keeps your mind, it just makes your mind better. It just makes you happy, right? So it's something that I've enjoyed doing with the kids, and Mrs. D is not really into flying. She's actually pretty good at it. I should, you know, if you guys coax her, maybe she'll go out there and fly a little bit more, but she's actually pretty good. But the girls are learning a little bit how to do that, and it's just something we can kind of spend time with. The flying field is not too far from where we live, so we can go do that whenever we want, providing the weather's good. So that's just something that I've been working on for fun, okay? But let's talk about some preparedness things. Now, last year, look, if it didn't kind of motivate you, if you survived it and you know, made it out sort of unscathed-ish. I mean, we all have stories. We all know people who have gotten sick and had some bad stuff happen. So, you know, we'll be sensitive to that to a certain degree. But if you made it out, and this didn't motivate you to get prepared in some way, shape, form, or another, then, you know, I don't know. I mean, obviously you're having fun unless you're just ignoring everything and just don't talk to me about it mentality. But really, it should have gotten you kind of the idea of preparedness. It should have kind of mainstreamed that idea. And I think 2020 mainstreamed the prepper movement, preparedness, that type of thing. So that's good. I think that was good. If that's what it took, you know, it's kind of sad, but that's what it took. So one of the things we have back here, you've seen this wall. This is our sort of allotted preparedness wall. And the reason, and it's not super huge. So, you know, if you're just getting into this, like, you know, we consider ourselves extremely lazy or amateur preparedness people. That said, we've had a little bit of time under our belt, and we've gotten some of our, you know, stocks up to speed here. But we don't have a huge. Our house is decent size, but it doesn't have a lot of storage. We have a small garage. I put a shed up last year so I can get some of the, you know, the garden stuff out of here, you know, out of the garage. So that just makes it a little better. So that does help. But we basically have, you know, a wall and a few feet over here for our immediate preparedness needs. And it's actually kind of nice because, you know, it is in the garage. You could pull a car in here, load it up with stuff, and then head out. And, you know, here's the thing. We had a wildfire last year, and we had to do exactly that. Go back and look at that video. I mean, you can kind of sense the panic, you know, in that situation because we didn't know what was going to happen. We're looking at smoke coming over the hill. Now, here's the thing. When you have a giant stash of food and canned goods, and there's, you know, rows and rows of this thing in a 40 by 60 barn, and you have a wildfire coming, what are you going to do with it, right? So all these things kind of started changing, you know, how I think about food storage and that kind of stuff. We didn't just continually grow our food storage throughout the whole year, but what we did was make sure that we can evaluate the stuff that we have and keep it stocked up. Okay, so you kind of pick how much you want. You kind of take an assessment of what you use. And I know there's some people out there who say, you know, get a year's worth of food, get a year's worth of supplies. That's great. We simply don't have the room for it at this house. But what we can do is get a very organized system to where we rotate and use food on a regular basis, use supplies on a regular basis. And I'll get into that in a little bit. This will be a little bit longer of a video, so we're gonna really go at it right now. So when the pandemic kicked off, you saw us do some videos on that. We were quite a bit behind on our frozen goods. We were a bit behind on our canned goods and our long-term food storage goods. So what we did is we would make an effort to buy for sure 2 weeks worth of groceries, like stuff we were going to use, plus some extra stuff. So we slowly built that up, actually pretty quickly built that up to where we were comfortable with it again. So behind me, I have a freezer, a chest freezer. It's a small chest freezer. I don't know what size it is. You know, for a while, these were really hard to find. We've had this one for years. It's done awesome, but it always sat kind of empty. So we made sure that was full of chicken, beef, game, fish, basic, you know, necessities and that type of food. So obviously, if the power goes out, you got a problem. We have a generator right there. We have another generator in the trailer. So we can power this thing for a few days with the fuel that we have on hand. So we can keep our food unless we're gone or something. But we filled that up. That is full. Mrs. D did a really good job of organizing that. And she's got these baskets in there and kind of a system. But it's topped up. And we try to keep that topped up. Really easy to go in there and look. Oh, we're empty. We need to get something filled up in there. Now you're noticing there's shortages on chicken. We stocked up on chicken months ago. Beef, I haven't heard much on that. But various meats and stuff like that. So just kind of keep that when you see a good deal on it. Nice to have a chest freezer. You can buy it and you can put it in there. Now, right behind me, the reason I'm standing here is I was going to show you this. I've been meaning to do a video on these for quite a while. I'm actually going to order a few more of these. But these are, I was going to build some racks because the problem with canned food, when you have, you know, canned food sitting here, and you can kind of see it on this side of the shelving units here where they're just disorganized, sort of organized. Obviously there's some things that are kind of odd shaped and there's different sized cans, but the problem with canned food is you buy it, you put it in the shelf, and the newest stuff is in the front, right? So what it happens is it always gets rotated to the back. Now, if you have a big giant area where your prepper bunker and everything and you've got rows of these things, you can obviously rotate that and get to the stuff in the back. That's ideal. But remember, we're dealing with kind of a compact space here, right? So freezer right here. What we've done is we bought this, and there's another wall. I'll show you. There's another shelving unit with 4 more of these and some other stuff over there. But you can see 4 of them right here. Now these are pretty cool. Remember what I said, when you need to bail out, let's say there's a forest fire, you have some of your main foods that you like to eat. Well, you can grab these things. It's not ideal, but I can take these things out. Watch it just fall. If you grab them from the bottom, these things come out like a rack, okay? Now they're not meant to be just, trucked around, but you can get to a group of food pretty quickly. Now you can kind of see the design of these things. You buy these on Amazon, and I'll put a link in the description if you guys if you guys want to know what these are. But I went and did a quick search on. Put those back. So I was going to build some sort of rack system where you load them in and it comes out. These things are pre-made. They cost a little bit of money, but they're designed for soda cans. Now, Mrs. D and I don't drink soda at all anymore, but it turns out they're actually almost perfect for a 15-ounce canned food. Beans, tomato, more beans, a lot of refried beans, corn, chili. The kids really like chili, so we always keep that stocked up. Now, here's the thing. When you buy something new, what's nice about it, obviously, and you know how this goes, loaded in the top, all the oldest stuff comes out to the front. So you're always pulling from the oldest stuff. Now, there's not a ton of them in here. You can fit about, I think, 10 cans in here. Let's see, we got 5. About 10 or 11 cans of food in there. So it's not, a huge amount, but you're always rotating it. And the nice thing is when you go shopping, you can take a quick glance out in the garage and say, oh, we're 3 cans short on black beans. Let's get 3 more cans. Let's top that up. You can see there's 3 cans, 2 cans, probably 4 cans, 3 cans missing. So we're going to top those up. All these things in racks are stuff that we use on a daily basis. Okay, they're not bulk storage. So it's always good to pull from that. I know some people are going to say, well, these take up a lot of space. They do. That's the one problem that I see with them, and I don't like it because we don't have unlimited space. And what I mean by that is when you stack up things like this, there's obviously, instead of just stacking up cans, you can obviously pack those things in really tight. But there's been so many times where we have a whole bunch of cans of, green beans, and they get shoved to the back, and then we keep buying green beans, and pretty soon you got 3, 4, 5-year-old green beans back there that you could have just used, right? So this kind of goes back to that whole thing. My grandparents grew up during the Great Depression, so she was always buying canned food and always had racks of these things, canned food laying there. And when she died, we had to go get all the stuff out of there, and we found out there's 10, 15-year-old canned food in there. It's great that you have it, but some of that stuff is long since expired. Some of it's borderline not safe anymore, and then some of it's really, you need to throw it away. So by that time, you've already wasted it. Well, it's just wasted food, right? And this isn't freeze dried, so you've got to rotate it. So my thinking and Mrs. D's thinking is that let's just get something that we can use on a daily basis, and we can just always kind of take a look and see where we're at. So sounds like something simple, but here's what it does. If we have to go, we have to leave quick, we're not shoving cans in a box and trying to go. We can actually bring, bring the rack of chili, some refried beans, some canned pickles, and some spaghetti sauce, and we have our pasta in another bucket. We got a bunch of meals to go, and we aren't wasting it. It's sitting there all kind of in one spot. If you have to move, let's say you're in an apartment, isn't this handy? You might have to move to a different apartment, a different job, a different city, so you could grab these things, put them in boxes, boom, pull them out, and you're ready to go. You're up and running. You're not digging around trying to find. I remember when we moved here, it was like we had boxes of food and glass cans and all this kind of stuff, glass jars and all these kind of things, and we had to reorganize everything. It's all here. So we've already taken advantage of that. We did 4 of them, and we're just like, they were so handy that we went and got more. So canned food up here, yeah, I'd like to have, this whole thing full of it, but the reality is we have, organic oats, we have white rice that's long-term storage stuff that'll last for a long time. Oats I can use, that's sort of like medium term, but it's sitting there. And you can buy that bulk fairly cheap. Tomato sauce, spaghetti sauce, and then we have our kind of odds and ends over here. Yeah, you can't put everything in these racks and make it perfect. There's going to be some cans that are just odd. We don't buy a whole bunch of, canned yams, but, the girls sometimes like canned peaches every now and then, so we get a couple of cans of those, just have them out for fun. They like pickles. They don't fit in here, so you know, there's just some odds and ends, but this just makes your life a lot easier with that. So the main thing is, if you have a small space like this, you can get started with something. Just pick, you know, 4 or 5. Well, actually, these come in pairs, so maybe get like 6 of these things. Get your top 6 canned food items and then fill those up on a regular basis. Rotate through them. Use it. Learn to use your preparedness type stuff, right? And I think that's important. I'm not one who's just gonna like pile it up and sit there and let it sit for, you know, 10 years. That's fine with the long-term stuff, but learn to use the stuff. Otherwise, you're gonna forget what's there. Long-term, the other thing we got, let me pull this camera off real quick and I'll show you some stuff. All right, so let's talk about the rest of this wall here and what we've learned over the years. So, you know, people kind of made fun of us. Gas masks, right? A couple of gas masks, one from Mrs. D. We have filters up there. I have filters over there. I've got extra filters up there. Wildfires, forest fire. We had that big giant fire here. I was wearing these for like 2 weeks straight because we were going out cleaning up my D2S dad's shop area and kind of getting everything squared away, coming back here, making sure we needed supplies and that kind of thing. So I'm wearing that all the time. I'm wearing that when I'm driving. Yes, seems kind of funny, but these are really comfortable, right? Pandemics and that type of stuff, absolutely. So, you know, I don't run around the store anymore with that. You know, we kind of know more about this thing, but, you know, have those available. Those are good to have. Even just a half mask, which I have a couple of those cheap ones over there. They're great. Use those all the time. I use those almost all the time, and I use those quite a bit. This is a bag full of just radios. When we had to bail out in the fire, you'll notice in the video, we had walkie-talkies, right? Simple, cheap walkie-talkies. Get something from Retevis. I've reviewed a few of their products. They're great. They're cheap. There's no reason why you shouldn't have a set or 2. Gloves over here. We have some gloves. Got a big stock of gloves. Of course, you know, your ammo supply. You know, good luck finding that now, but you know, you should have already been prepared with that. This company right here, I was going to do a review on them. They do, this nutrient company, they do kind of this long-term stuff. Their whole thing is like energy bars, like granola bar type stuff with a lot of like full food group type stuff in there. Honestly, to be honest, I haven't done a review because they taste terrible. But in a pinch, you know, it's food, and the kids tried it, they hated them. But there's some nutrients in there. They're quick. I can grab that and go. Ready Hour, you guys have seen the reviews on that, so I have a couple boxes of that. Up here I have some MREs stashed back there, and I also bought, you can't see it, there's a couple of boxes of MREs and some more Mountain House. Mountain House is great for backpacking. So you have all kind of that stuff. Camping stuff down there. There's a stove, and I have extra fuel in my metal cabinet over here. This right here is kind of cool. I'm not really going to like do a full review on this, but like getting organized, this is like, you know, you want your ammo and all that stuff all set up. It's great. It's a great setup. You can load up some mags, put them in there, and go. Very nice setup. And then the other thing, let's see. Yeah, what else do we got? When we travel now, we use a porta potty in the back of the car. Sounds kind of gross, but it's just the way we do it. So, you know, Aquachem, have some extras of those. Laying around some bleach, right? Have bleach. Bleach is important right now. Yeah, so you can make a pretty simple but robust system. Now, the other thing we're doing here is, let me put this back on the tripod, and I'm going to show you the other layer of preparedness gear that we have and how this all kind of ties in. Okay, so the other thing is, when you have kind of a basic kit that you put together, these action packer boxes that you get, these Rubbermaid action packers, are awesome. They're super strong. They're really easy to use. You can kind of lock them, which I don't really do, but one thing we also put, and usually this is stored in another area, but I just have it over here just for demonstration purposes. But this is kind of, you remember those kits that you put together for the house, you know, basic stuff, lanterns, batteries, and see, look at this. I'm looking through here, I've already stolen batteries out of here, so right after this video, I'm going to go order more AA's and AAA's. I have some 1, 2, 3s in here. I have a bunch of lanterns. There's a battery-powered crank radio, some gloves, some duct tape, a bunch of little like old headlamps, you know, that still probably work, you know, just basic stuff, really basic. These are cool. These are water, what are these, 2 gallons? Yeah, 2.5 gallon water jugs. They're collapsible water jugs, so I throw those in there. I have some of those in the car. And then these are good. These are awesome. These are SOS rations. They're basically kind of coconut flavored bars. They taste pretty good. They're just sugar and carbs, but they last forever. They aren't bothered by cold or heat. So I have several of those in here, and that'll just kind of get you going. Emergency blankets, water filters, that type of stuff, screwdrivers, you know, just basic stuff. One thing that we always found when the power goes out and things get dicey is that we want light. So I've been really into this type of stuff. You know, these super bright, these things are awesome. And then you can dim them down. And then I think you can hold it down and change the color of it. Oh, hang on. Yeah, they're different color. Hold it down and it changes to warm, and this looks like an incandescent lamp. It's pretty cool. But these are great, so you can just kind of have those sitting on the, you know, we've had the power gone out a lot this year for some reason. I don't know why, but I just charged this up to make sure it's ready to go. It also has a phone USB chargers on the side, and it's like a 10,000 milliamp or something. What is this thing? It is pretty good. 37 watt hours. I don't know. It's pretty good. I don't know what this is. It's my charge. I went on to find another one of these, and they were all sold out. My parents got me this. This is pretty cool. This is the same kind of thing. Hold this down, I think. And you got a light, you know, so kind of the same deal. And the thing about this Ready Hour one is it has a solar power panel on this side, and it won't charge up your main bank. This thing's dead. I gotta go charge it up. But it won't charge up your main bank, but it'll charge it up enough to run, you know, your light pretty much indefinitely. So same kind of deal. Does it turn off? I don't know if it turns off. There we go. But the cool thing about this one is it's got a bunch of different pretty high output chargers on it, and it also has the magnetic, what do you call that? Inductive charger. So if you have an iPhone, you can just set it on top and it'll charge it. It's pretty neat. So this is a really cool item, and I'm gonna charge this up and throw it in here and keep it in here. But I use this sometimes just as is. It's got a lot of power and a lot of charges on this thing, so it's pretty neat. After this video, I'm gonna go order more batteries. The other thing is, so this is like kind of our basic home kit. You know, do you need batteries? Do you need lights? That kind of thing. Now this kit usually rides in the car when we go on a trip, and this is, you notice these water jugs, right? There's water filtration in here as well. There's more of those SOS things. We have a few entrees for MREs, cups. We have some coffee in here, instant coffee. If you guys like instant coffee, this is organic instant coffee, Mount Hagen. You can get this at the store. And it tastes pretty good. It's kind of like kind of basic, but it works. So just kind of some spices in there, different things. If you want something interesting, get these kippered fish things. And then we have a little butane stove that we keep with this whole thing. So we can make some meals in here. There's also some freeze-dried stuff in there as well. But this is pretty packed full of stuff that you might need. And we bring this on every single road trip. Anytime we head out, this goes with us. I don't know how I had this in there. So anytime we head out on the road, this kit goes along with us, and it's been just a nice peace of mind having it. If you want to just stop off and have some coffee, you know, why not? Get stuff that you like. You can see right here a box of MREs, and then some Mountain House right there. What else do we have? Generator right here. See that generator? I have a generator right there. Lanterns. I'm going to do a review on some mantles. You guys might have remembered I did a video a few years ago, probably 5 years ago now, of some Peerless mantles. Peerless just got a hold of me and sent me a bunch of mantles, and I think that this is a Coleman mantle in here, so maybe we'll do a review of that, see if it's any better. So that would be kind of fun. But what else do we have? yeah, that's about it. So, to summarize, basically, if you don't have a ton of space, you live in an apartment, small garage, there's still really no excuse. I mean, right here, it's not very big, this whole wall right here, and you probably have, you know, I would say a good solid month's worth of food right here, just sitting here. We have a pantry in there, we have another wall of stuff just in case, but oh, also water. I have some jugs of water. I have fuel out in the shed now, you know, so just making sure you have all the basics. But start with basic canned food. Start with stuff that you use all the time. Don't just go out and buy a bunch of stuff just to have it. Get stuff that you actually use. You know, if you have more room, then get long-term stuff that you know, it's kind of extra stuff. So yeah, there's really no excuse. Food, long-term storage, ammunition, several different stoves to cook outside if you need to, and that type of thing. And then kind of your mobile boxes. And I think those action packers are pretty awesome. You'll see a lot of reviews and a lot of people using them. Just for fun, we picked one up. I picked a few of them up, and just they're awesome. So as a bonus, you know, you've seen in our videos the review of the Dometic freezer fridge. That's a bonus because, you know, you can bring some of these frozen goods. If you have to get out of here, you can throw those in the freezer, put them in your car, and go. So there's all these kind of systems that you can start kind of piecing them together. But you know, when a disaster strikes, you know, you don't exactly know what's going to happen. You know, if it's an earthquake, these might fall over and stuff breaks, and you have to go to something different. So in the case of the forest fire, yeah, it was great that we had, you know, some of these preparations. We had enough food that we could ride out, you know, stores not being able to do whatever, or power down or whatever. But the biggest problem was we had to leave for a couple weeks, a week or two. So we had to actually leave our property. Now we could come back and get stuff, but we were right on that line of, you know, you have to go, like the red zone, like the fire could come up here. So, you know, that was a totally different element. So it's great when you have, you know, a barn full of stuff, but again, how are you going to get it out of there? So it's good to have a certain amount of it that's mobile that you can take. You know, if we want to go up north and we had to go, we can grab that stuff and go and put it in the trailer and head out. So some of these systems work for that, some of them don't. So I think it's good to have a variety, especially like that MRE stuff. I can grab that box and I can grab the mountain house, boom, and you got a bunch of meals. You got, you know, several days worth of food right there for you and the kids and everybody. So, and you don't have to cook them or do anything. So there's time and a place for everything. So, but that's where we're at right now. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope the new year is better for you this year. Actually, to be honest, 2020 for us was phenomenal. We homeschool now. I've been able to spend more time with the kids, working from home. It's been phenomenal, really. Other than the whole, you know, pandemic thing, which is terrible. But yeah, other than that, it's been crazy good in many ways. So I hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you on the next one.